Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Blind Boys Politics here with your wonderful, beautiful Friday news show.
Thank God it's Friday.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Jesus.
This week's been quite long, honestly.
Busy.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it feels like it's flown by, but at the same time, it feels like it's taken forever, and it's.
Count yourself lucky, buddy.
Yeah.
Let me explain to the viewers where I am at mentally. I'm sitting in my furnace room.
Yeah, you even sound exhausted there, bud.
No, not me.
Never.
I'm wide awake. As I say that, I'm about to yawn.
Yeah, so, long week, but we're finally at Friday. Chris, I don't know if you have anything exciting going on the weekend, but I know my plan is just to relax and forget that the world exists. Just for a bit.
I mean, I have plans, but you're not going to like those plans, so we won't discuss them here. Anyways, Nick, I got some news that you also probably won't like.
All right, hit me with it.
Europe is shutting down, more specifically, France and Germany.
Oh, boy. Yeah. France and Germany shutting down. Their COVID numbers have been pretty ugly lately. In fact, from last week, Europe counted for over half the world's numbers.
Doesn't that bring back memories?
Oh, God, it's scary. We knew that Europe was getting a little out of whack there for a little bit, but to see it spike that badly, oh my God, it's so bad.
They are good. France's president has said that they will be shut down starting today until somewhere in December. All non-essential businesses will be closed. The only thing opened will be factories and schools and essential businesses.
Now, I find it fascinating that they're actually leaving schools open. Obviously that's been a controversial topic here in the United States, but over there they evidently...
Especially with more than half of their ICU beds are full. I'm surprised that they're taking a chance.
Yeah, I mean, it clearly shows how important they feel that their education really is, and hopefully it works out for them. Hopefully.
Now let's bring this full circle. The experts over here in the U.S. say we're on track to be where they are in about 3 weeks.
Yeah, unfortunately, we ourselves here in the U.S., as I'm sure most of you know probably by now, we've been experiencing some pretty bad spikes. What was it? Last I knew, it was like 38 states were on the rise. And
and then 40-something states have had an increase in hospitalizations.
Right. As of right now, things don't look great. And so, yeah, unless there's some kind of change, we could be heading in the same direction as Europe is right now. And
in about 3 weeks.
Yeah, I mean...
Could you see it now, Nick? Flashback to March and April.
God, I hope not. I honestly hope that we can stay open and find a way to make that necessary change to hold the numbers where they're at and hopefully bring them down a little bit over time. But we'll just have to wait and see how people react to this and how things go over the next 3 weeks, I guess.
Yeah, so that's where Europe's at, and that could be potentially where the U.S. is heading in 3 weeks.
Now, of course, we hope
God
the best
hope
for...
not. But...
Yeah, we hope the best for France and Germany, and hopefully they can get their situation sorted out. And all of Europe, really, because a lot of the other countries in Europe are also seeing some pretty wacky numbers. So hopefully they can get that under control, figure out a solution, figure out a way to bring those back down.
So moving on to other news, there has been a large number of uncounted ballots because, this year absentee ballots are extremely high, the numbers.
Yeah, so at this point, I mean, millions of ballots still haven't been returned. And yet we're at a point right now where we've set a new record for the number of people that have requested mail-in ballots, the absentee ballots. So we have some of the numbers for, the states on how many ballots are unaccounted for. So specifically Florida has 1.9 million unaccounted for. Arizona has 1.5 million, Georgia 800,000, Michigan 700,000.
The return of these ballots are crucial because first, if they're not returned, it's a vote that doesn't count. And second, the Supreme Court just ruled on a case saying that no ballots acceptably are going to be counted. So if it's not there by November 3rd, they're not counting it towards the election.
Right. Now, of course, we've spoken many times as to how important the vote is, how important your voice is. So to see a vote go unaccounted for and not be accepted because it came in late, it's unfortunate. It's an unfortunate thought, but it's kind of where we are. It's kind of where we're at the moment. But what we can say to you is essentially, if you have an absentee ballot on your table, at your house, waiting to be turned in, get it in. Vote, get it in. That way your voice is sure to be counted. So one thing that we will tell you and point out here is that they are urging people that they shouldn't mail these ballots in. What they're doing is each county has their own ballot boxes for you to go and drop your absentee ballots into. They say that you shouldn't take the chance on mailing it in. Just go drop it in the ballot box, and it's going to be a lot more secure.
Speaking of the Supreme Court, just ruling in a case, what just happened with the Supreme Court? Well, Coney Barrett is officially a new justice for the Supreme Court. She has been confirmed. The vote was 52-48. All the Democrats voted no, and only one Republican voted no, and that was Susan Collins.
Yeah, so after that happened, Trump held the swearing-in party at the White House, and then she was given the oath of the Supreme Court, that the justices recite when they join and become a justice. She was given that by Clarence Thomas. After that, she then pledged to the people to put her political and personal beliefs aside when deciding cases. And we do have a clip of that, so we'll play that right here.
A judge declares independence not only from Congress and the president, but also from the private beliefs that might otherwise move her.
Tuesday, she was sworn in by Justice Robert. She is expected to start working immediately on cases.
Now, this comes at a very interesting time because right now there are some pretty high-profile cases going on the docket. And those include, the Affordable Care Act, which we've been hearing a lot about that case. If you've been paying attention to the debates, it's been a pretty hot topic. There have been several election-related cases going to the Supreme Court from states like Minnesota, North Carolina, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. Then there's also a case regarding Trump's tax returns, a Mississippi abortion case, and then there's a case coming from Pennsylvania about discrimination with same-sex marriage. So overall, like I said, some pretty high-profile cases going on right at the time of her nomination and confirmation.
So, she's supposed to expected to start working immediately. She, like Nick said, she's set to put her beliefs and personal views and political views aside because that's the job of a judge. Pretty big cases coming up, so we'll see how that goes with these cases. I'm sure we'll give updates on some cases if anything major happens, which these are some pretty big cases. So I'm sure we'll be talking about them in some form or fashion.
But, just to summarize it all, we have a new justice. Welcome, Amy Coney Barrett.
Have a muffin. Nick, I
Yeah.
have to tell you something. Don't be mad at me, buddy. There is no stimulus.
What a shame.
Senate is adjourned until November 9th. That meaning no stimulus and no business will be conducted.
Right. We've been talking endlessly about whether there's going to be a new stimulus or not. Obviously, we've covered it time and time and time again, episode after episode. But it is official. There will be no new stimulus before Election Day. And honestly, it looked like that was going to be the case for quite a while. Obviously, throughout September and into October, we had all the fighting between the Democrats and the Republicans. And then beyond that, moving further into the month, we had all of the different major leaders on different pages. You had, the White House and House Speaker on going in one direction. You had Trump trying to go in another, the Senate going in another. It was like the car analogy that Chris used in the one episode.
They're all still going
recently.
their separate ways.
Yeah, they were all just going completely different directions when they were supposed to be.
They still are.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, no, so it is official that there will be no stimulus before this election is up. So continue to wait, people, because
Might be something after election.
Yeah, but we'll
A
just
higher
have to
chance
see.
than before the election.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, probably won't be anything until, say, closer to the inauguration of the next president.
If not after.
Yeah, just because things are still going to be pretty tense and pretty high-strung at that time. So it'll be
moving
interesting to
on,
see where
Derek
things go from there.
Chauvin has had a charge dropped.
So yeah, there was in fact a charge dropped on with Derek Chauvin's case, and this came from a 107-page report by the judge who was presiding over the case.
That was a lot of fun for me to read.
I'm sure it was. The charge that was dropped was the third-degree murder charge. Now, one thing to note is that he did deny Chauvin's request to drop the other charges, those being second-degree murder and manslaughter charges.
Now, if you're wondering what third-degree murder is, in Minnesota it says causes the death of another by portraying an act eminently dangerous to others and evidently a deprived mind without regard for human life. So, in layman terms, for the average day Joe, that essentially means that if, you walked into a crowd of people in Minnesota and shot off a gun and it killed someone, and you found out about this and you didn't feel bad about it.
Right. Now, one thing to bring up here is, when we're talking about these charges, obviously Chauvin had multiple charges, the 2 counts of murder, the manslaughter. Some people might be wondering, as I did for a little while, why and how they put multiple charges like this when there was only one man killed. And essentially the point to putting multiple charges like this and layering them on is so that they are pretty much guaranteed a conviction.
Not only that, it's a very common thing to do that anyways.
Yeah.
Multiple charges, it's never just one. The judge did deny the other 3 cops involved against them. The judge did not rule on change of venue, separate trials for each defendant. That's still up in the air what he's going to do. The trial is set to still take place in March 2021. But Nick, I have some gossipy news if you want to hear it.
Gossipy news is always fun. What do you got?
His wife, Derek Chauvin's wife, she filed for divorce.
Wow. I mean, I can't really say I'm surprised. You would expect that to happen after a case like this, not only because of what he did, but honestly for her own safety. With everything that's happened, back when the incident first occurred, I mean, his family's life was put in danger. So,
well, her lawyer released a statement saying that she fully supports the movement that has come from this, and she no longer wishes to be with a man that has done that.
Yeah. So, like I said, like I just said, it's pretty much expected at this point. Now,
just since we were speaking of safety, the lawyer did give him permission to move out of state for his safety.
Right, which again makes sense because, again, like I just mentioned about the family safety, I mean, people were trying to get to this man. Cops had to surround his house to make sure that no one got through and killed him and his family. So it makes sense to at least make sure that he is kept safe while he awaits trial.
Now, into our final topic, Hurricane Zeta has hit Louisiana with 107 mile-an-hour winds. Now, this is the 5th storm this year.
Yeah, and this was a really destructive storm overall. 107 mile an hour winds, you kind of expect some damage, but there were over 30 million in its path, and over 10,000 people lost power, which that's actually lower than the number I thought it would be, considering how much how wild the storm was. And it was 1 mile an hour away from being a Category 3 storm when it was originally only supposed to become a Category 1 storm.
Now, of course, with the election right around the corner, this had to happen. Power is out. People need to vote. Well, the governor has said that polling locations that are pinpointed on the map, those are going to take priority to get their power back than anything else before it. So take that as you will.
The hope is that power and everything will be back up, especially for those locations by election day.
And, the storm, it's fast, and it's going to be a far-reaching storm. So, we'll be hoping for the best for everyone that's involved.
Yeah, this year has been absolutely insane with the number of hurricanes. Honestly, I don't remember a year prior to this year where I've heard about more hurricanes hitting the U.S. and just appearing in general. There have been so many. When you reach the point to where you have to switch to the Greek alphabet, we had Gamma, we had a few others. It's just crazy. Like, that's so many storms to have in 1 year.
It really is, and we'll be thinking of everyone that's involved, and hopefully people get their power back real quick. And if you're under a mandatory evacuation, hopefully you follow that and evacuate.
Yeah, exactly. We just, we obviously hope that everyone stays safe, everyone takes as little damage as possible, and gets through this one day at a time. And hopefully you can get back up on your feet and have everything up and running and fixed again really soon.
Well, Nick, are you ready to get into your favorite segment, our last segment on our Friday and Monday shows of Dumb Loss?
Yeah. And I've got a pretty good one to go along for this week. But Chris, why don't you go first this time around since I went first last time?
Well, in Massachusetts, candy may not contain more than 1% of alcohol.
Now, this is news to me because I want to know where candy is sold with alcohol in general.
I mean, candy canes have, when you're making it, you put alcohol in it, but that gets cooked out.
Right.
So I don't know how it would even affect the candy with the alcohol in it.
I'm wondering if there is like some kind of market for like alcoholic candy.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. Well, there's drinks with candy in it.
Well, and think about it. There are things like,
And you know what? Now that I say that, there is gummy bears with alcohol in it.
yeah, that doesn't surprise me because like I was about to say, you have gummies with weed in it. So why wouldn't there be the same with alcohol?
True.
But that's interesting. Only 1%.
It's not a very dumb law, but I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, no, that is. Now, my law is rather obvious, I would hope, but the reason I choose it is because of the info that comes with it. So, in Iowa, it is illegal to throw a brick onto a highway. Now, this corn state law must have been written in stone. I'm sorry for the bad jokes.
Har.
I didn't come up with it. Don't blame me.
So,
but
funny.
the law states that no bricks or dangerous instruments or toys or anything of the kind cannot be thrown onto a highway or a street in Iowa, except the exception to this is if you get written permission from the city council. I want to be in the room, the city council room, when they get a request to be able to throw bricks into a highway. Huh?
Well, as long as you can get your
What matter? Like, what circumstances do you approve this?
It's all right.
What circumstances come about where you actually approve that request? That's my question.
For fun.
For fun. Yeah, 5-car pileups are, the most fun thing ever.
It's good for insurance companies.
Fair enough.
Well, Nick, do you mind if we get into our good news story? Because I really like this good news story.
Absolutely. No, let's get into it. I love
and I haven't told you
segment.
about this one, so.
No, I'm completely in the dark, so I'm excited.
Now, this news story, it's not so much like good news story, but I like the story, and it goes along with Halloween that's tomorrow. So I felt like it I had to be told.
Right.
In Massachusetts, a 9-year-old wrote the governor and said, for Halloween with trick-or-treating, people should be required to hand out king-size candy bars. So each person only gets one candy bar, so you're not reaching into the bowl. The governor wrote the 9-year-old back and said, that's a very good idea. I like your idea. I like the way you think. Then his press conference on Tuesday, he told everyone the idea. He said, it's not a requirement, but it's a good idea.
That's
Now,
actually,
if that's not ingeniousness right there, I don't know what is.
yeah, that's pretty crazy. And to
Using
think,
a global pandemic on your side to get king-size candy bars.
I know, right? On one hand, when you think about it from one side, it's like, wow, 9-year-old's a genius because he actually found a way to make it so people aren't reaching into the bowl with the whole pandemic going on. On the other hand, it's like, kid's a genius because he just got himself and all the other kids a bunch of king-size candy bars.
And then for the governor to mention it in his press conference.
And to write him back on top of it, too.
If I was that parent, I would be the most proudest parent on this side of the Mississippi.
I know. For a 9-year-old to come up with that idea, though, that is actually really cool.
And then write the governor.
Yeah, exactly. It's so many people would just like come up with the idea and then just be like, nah, whatever. It's not going to happen. But this can't happen.
See, Nick, I have an idea for Governor Cuomo, our governor.
Okay.
And I'm 18 and I never wrote him.
Yeah.
My idea is that he should tax people that hand out candy corn or apple slices.
Okay, the apple slices I agree with. The candy corn, I can't get behind you on that one because I love candy
Yes,
corn.
you can.
I love candy corn. So.
You're telling me you would rather have a bag of candy corn than a bag of Snickers.
I mean, I'll take candy corn, man. I love Snickers and I love chocolate.
I'm writing Governor Cuomo to tell him to put a tax on that. If you hand out candy corn, apple slices, when you're trick-or-treating, you get a 10% tax.
Throw pretzels in there while you're at it.
Pretzels are good, though.
Pretzels are good, but they're not candy.
Neither is candy corn.
Yes, it is.
It's not a candy that anyone wants to get on Halloween. It's a good candy to eat, but not on Halloween.
It's specifically made for Halloween.
It's a good candy to have on your kitchen table to have a piece of candy whenever you're walking out. But to walk up on someone's front porch and them dump candy corn in my bag, I would be like, I'm calling Cuomo on you.
Matt, honestly, if I walk up to a house and they give me a bag of candy corn, I'm going to happily accept and I'm going to demolish that candy corn as soon as possible.
So you're telling me you came to my house. I said, Nick, you either get a little fun size of candy corn or you get a king size bar of Snickers. You're taking that candy corn?
Okay, but now you're comparing a fun size candy corn to a king size
No one's going to
Snickers.
put a full-size bag of Snickers or a full-size bag of candy corn in your bag, Nick.
Okay, I get that.
You know what? End of argument. I'm writing Cuomo. He's going to mention it in his next press conference tomorrow. End of story.
It's sad because that argument was actually getting heated, bro.
You know what, Nick?
I could be going on for hours about that.
Nick, here's the problem. You don't have the level of intelligence that me and the 9-year-old have.
I just love candy corn, man.
No, you just don't have the same level of intelligence.
I just love candy corn.
You know what? The viewers can decide.
I'm not going to complain about candy corn.
Candy corn or Snickers? You decide.
Why
if you
is it
live in
just-
Massachusetts, let us know if people hand out those king-size candy bars. Because now I'm interested.
Yeah. I hope it gets reported on somewhere because I'm curious to see how that goes.
Now, looking forward to the future. Monday, we have a very special episode for you about the election because the next day after Monday is election day.
Yep, so that episode will pretty much encompass, how voting is going to work, how you're going to submit your ballots, and all of that good stuff. When the votes will be counted, when all the results will be tallied, all that good stuff. So look out for that episode Monday morning.
And then Friday morning, we'll be talking about, because I already know a few things we'll be talking about because I'm just that good. Friday morning, we'll be talking about in detail the election, the results if we have them by then. Wednesday, we'll have a brief announcement on who won. But Friday, we will have more details about the election. Netflix prices are going up once again, and a little scandal with my friend Rachel Ray.
So there'll be all that, and of course more on that
Political
Friday
news
show.
and more important news. But I feel like that's something that everyone needs to know, that Netflix prices are going up once again.
It seems to happen a lot.
But we'll talk about that Friday morning, 7 a.m. Until then, see you Monday.
For now, just make sure to go and follow us on Twitter.
And if there's a news story you want us to talk about, DM our Blind Boys Politics account on Twitter.
Links will be in the show notes. That will be both the podcast account and our personal accounts. Follow if you want news updates from the podcast and some entertainment from yours truly, Chris and myself.
Mostly
and also
me.
our social media boss, Amina.
See you Monday morning.
See you guys.